Have you ever noticed how many books have been written about how we can succeed? How we can succeed in business, how we can succeed in our relationship, how we can succeed as a dog breeder, how we can succeed in raising beautiful roses. Whatever it is, whatever matters to us, whatever achievement we long for. There are books, there are webinars, there are seminars, there's weekend retreats, there's inspirational speeches, there are YouTube channels. Success, how you can succeed at this, how you can succeed at that. Clearly, in our culture, it is seen that success, the way to happiness, the way to a fulfilled life is through success. So how do I begin to talk about that? For me, the most transformative things that have happened in my life have been my failures. And in this case, the failure that led me to prison. How do I talk about that? How do I communicate the value of something that so many of us in our culture and our whole culture is geared to help us avoid? Of course, I tried to succeed. I tried to succeed in making the film. I tried to succeed in paying people back. I tried to succeed even after it had been revealed that I had followed a crazy spiritual teacher and I had put people in a terrible position. I still tried to succeed. I tried to write books. I tried to do something to pull success out of the fire. And none of it worked. None of it worked. The failure in this case was not to be denied. And sitting with that, living with that day to day for years, I began to realize the wisdom of failure. This was not a blinding light, a flash of inspiration, an awakening, whatever. It was just, I began to see that every success that I had worked so hard for, every accomplishment, every book, every manuscript I had written, every good baseball game I pitched, every basketball game we won or I did well in, all of these successes, in retrospect, I could see were an attempt to build up this person, this identity, this being that would be a successful person, that I could then say, see, I could say to the world, I could say, whether I said it or not, it was just an expression, see who I am, see what I have done. And only when all those accomplishments began to be stripped away or revealed as irrelevant or false or meaningless, only then did I begin to realize that every effort to be successful, every accomplishment was a layer over something that was already there. An attempt to justify something that a kind of internal insecurity or need to prove myself. Every accomplishment became a layer, just layering over the top of that. And as those accomplishments began to fall away, to strip away, to be burned up in the fire, whatever metaphor you want to use to describe it, the more that fell away, the more I was not Mac Parker, the storyteller. I was not Mac Parker, who was a good athlete. I was not Mac Parker, who was an honorable neighbor with integrity that people could count on. I was not any of those things, and so much more. All those accomplishments, all those false layers began to reveal themselves as superficial. They were layers over the top of something that was already here. When all those false versions of myself began to fall away and continued to fall away, I didn't find nothing. I didn't find a great void where everything that I cared about was gone. I found that something deeper, something more real emerged. What was this? As I've said before, I sat in prison. I lay on my bunk in prison. And I felt the layers falling away. I felt the shame. I felt the fear. I felt the fear of losing what I had been. And even as that was happening, and to some extent, the more that happened, something deeper came forth. Here I was. But what was I? What was this something? What was I without this carefully constructed and curated identity? What was I? And there were a lot of deep breaths in that. And just, holy shit, it's all a scam. Not only did I run a scam, my whole life, my identity was a scam. It was all creating a pretend version of myself that I could get by with in the world. And as that false version of myself died, fell away, and I was standing there buck naked, I would just take these deep breaths, and more often I would say, oh, thank God. Thank God I don't have to try so hard to justify my existence. Thank God I'm nothing but a convict. Thank God I'm nothing at all. I'm just a guy in prison reading a book, or sitting here staring at the wall, or eating my peanut butter sandwich that they handed me through a little hole in my door while we're on lockdown. And it's a pretty damn good peanut butter sandwich. Who am I? What is this me that emerges from underneath the falseness? I took deep breaths. I relaxed. I laughed at the silliness of what I had been trying to prove to the world, because more and more I could feel there's nothing to prove. There's just this self, this deeper, quieter version of myself that just sits here and is alive and appreciates the convicts I'm serving time with, that appreciates walking through the fences to go outside and work on the outside landscaping crew, that appreciates this time to read books that I'd never read in my life and never would read in my life if I hadn't had this extra time. Just this simple, quieter version of myself that truly was content. Everything had gone wrong. Everything had been destroyed. Everything, all of my efforts had come to naught. And here I was, happier than I had ever been. How do you write a book about that? How do you make a webinar? How do you become an inspirational speaker talking to people who want to learn the next thing they can do to succeed in life? And I say, nah, just fail. What you discover won't be so bad. I don't know how to do that except to tell this story. I don't know how to do this except to share my experience. There's something in us. I have been blessed beyond measure to experience that there's something there when everything that we have worked so hard to be falls away. There's something there. There's something there in me. There's something there in you. So if you're striving for success, go for it. If it means something, if it's an important stage. I wouldn't have known the value of failure if I hadn't had some success in my life. If you're striving for success, go for it. Enjoy it. Learn whatever you can learn from it. And if you're staring into the abyss of failure or feeling the gravitational pull of something drawing you in, something collapsing, something burning away, I guess I'm just here to say you don't need to be afraid of that. You feel whatever fear comes up. But I can tell you from experience that the fear that comes up is the fear of losing what wasn't real to begin with. It's okay to fail. It's okay to let it fall away. And it's more than okay to discover what is revealed when all of that falseness falls away. Blessings on you. May this come to you in whatever way it needs to. Of course, your story will be different than mine. Of course, I don't recommend that someone go to prison to do this. But when in whatever way that falling away happens for you, that peace begins to happen for you, that failure begins to happen for you, and the true essence of what you are begins to reveal yourself. It's beyond description. Enjoy it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to this and other videos about my experiences in prison. If you like these and appreciate the content, it's really helpful if you like and subscribe, share them with other people, comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know what touches you. To me, that's the conversation, and that's what I value the most about this. Thank you so much for coming to visit. Hope to see you again soon.